Welcome to the 10th episode of the First Gen Sisters podcast. Today we're going to be talking about bumps, boats, blunders, and bullheads, tales of the 10,000 lakes. This is Nikki.
Maria.
Dee Dee. Noelle. It's the First Gen Sisters podcast, where the wine flows and the tea spills.
Cheers!
First, we want to share a beautiful tradition that grew out of our family's journey with our mom, Betty's dementia. And if you've been listening to us for a while, you know about our mom's journey with dementia for about a decade. And if you've listened, you've heard about our Que Sera story, how our mom would come back to us through her dementia fog and sing the Que Sera story. And so from that, we were inspired to start the Que Sera bracelets and giving our beaded bracelets with a cross away. And they're symbols of healing and connection to her and to the world. And as we give them to people, we basically just take one off our wrist. Someone's looking like they're having a bad day, or you're having a really great connection with a new person you just met. And you just say, life is messy, God's got you. And that's really all that Que Sera is about, but we'll share some more beautiful Que Sera stories. I think we're going to move it over to Maria to tell one of our new Que Sera stories.
I have a friend, her name is Amy, and she's one of our biggest supporters for the Que Sera bracelets. Every time I see her, she's always looking at what bracelet I have, and she works at Yum Bakery in Minnetonka, and she's actually purchased several of these for her employees and has given them as gifts or just as a token if they're having a bad day or need some kind of encouragement. And just the other day, she went through a bunch of our bracelets and purchased them and just loves them. And she's going to be a grandma in about a week or so. And they're going out to California for her daughter and son-in-law's, the birth of their little baby boy. So I had put together 2 bracelets, one for her daughter, one for the son-in-law. And I did the blue bracelets, and she just looked at that and thought that was great. We're constantly encouraging people to do the same thing that we do with the bracelets. Give them to somebody that's having a bad day, or if you just want to just cheer them up for whatever reason. She's actually asked me a couple of times, can you make some custom bracelets for us? Because she might have some colors in mind or that sort of thing. We can do whatever anyone wants as far as putting together a beautiful bracelet. I've been noticing that there's a lot of bracelets out there right now, and we've had a lot of interest in our bracelets. So I think there's a lot of people out there that are making somebody's day.
Yeah, and it was just fun. We were all sitting out in Maria's backyard at her pool, and Amy and her husband, Tim, came over, and she was looking through all the bracelets, like Maria said, and she just had them all the way up her arm, and she just kept putting more and more on. And so she was having a lot of fun with it. She is just so sweet and just wanted to share the love. And I think that is our whole story. It's just really about sharing the love and making someone's day.
Anytime I give one away, they're like, this is for me. I get to keep
And they're
this.
beautiful. We've really gotten to the point where they're really beautiful bracelets. So
yeah, we put a lot of thought into making every single one of them. Sometimes
special.
Yeah, sometimes we try to make them messy because that's our motto. Life is messy, but
It's
God's
hard,
got you.
yeah.
But then all of a sudden we're like, oh, it's a pattern. We really put a lot of thought into them. We buy beads that are super pretty, and we'll put like gold and silver and little trinkety things on them. And then we also make them for men too. And so we try to grow them up and make colors
There's
for men.
lots of men that just love them too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen
Oh,
so
for
many
sure.
men wearing bracelets lately. And like today, we could talk about Steve, our bartender at Gianni's. I got there a little bit later, and Dee and Noelle had given him a bracelet, but it was a little smaller, right?
Yeah, it was a little too small for him, but he goes, you know what? I really needed this today. And he goes, I have someone in mind I'm going to give this to, so it doesn't matter that
perfect.
it doesn't fit.
And
So then Maria got there. I'm like, do you have a bigger one that I can give Steve so he can wear one himself?
And
he
I had
did.
a whole bag of bracelets. So I
Oh,
was
you
just like,
did?
yeah, from
Good.
the happy hour the
Yeah.
other night. So I
Awesome.
brought all those bracelets.
Did he
and
pick up bro one?
I
Bro
gave him
one.
a bro one.
Oh,
He
Yeah.
was
Okay.
so sweet. So we went to Gianni's. That's going to be our pour score. But he even said, oh, I'll give you this one back. And we're like, absolutely not.
No, just keep
This
it.
one's for, and we gave him one, and he was really touched by it.
Yeah.
We're going to get into Steve and more stories about Gianni's.
Okay.
So, part 2 is our happy hour discoveries. As you've been hearing, we went to Gianni's in Wayzata. This is fancy schmancy steakhouse. They have an amazing happy hour from 3:30 to 5:30 to 5 p.m. Oh,
Yeah,
5
p.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
3:30 to 5. So not very long, but the menu is awesome. Appetizers ran from $5 to $10. Was there any $15 ones?
I don't think so.
I
I
think
just
the 12.
$5.
I think $12 was the
Maybe
highest
12 was the
price point.
highest.
Yeah, but I got this martini olive dip, and it was $5, so it was amazing. But anyhow, most of us got martinis, and they were $10. So a
That's
beautiful
cheap.
martini at Gianni's.
Yeah, what was yours called? The Wild Rose
Something
Martini?
like that. It was
Yeah,
the
gin martini.
martini of the day. It was great.
And I was late because I had to take the bus home from downtown and get all the way over to Wayzata.
Shame train.
The shame
Steve
train.
didn't believe you were
And
real.
yeah, I was like snuffle up against. He didn't believe I was real. And then I did show up and they had a martini waiting for me. So that was really sweet.
It's Gianni's is very sophisticated, really well done. But Steve, our bartender, actually made the happy hour for us.
Do you want me to do the bar stool breakdown?
Let's
Okay.
go into it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, this is Nikki. I'm going to do the pour score rating system for our bar stool breakdown. And as we go into scene and sip, the sports scene, the girls' room, tab recap, and then we'll rate it on a score of 1 to 10. I'm going to start with the scene and sip. What did you guys think?
It's definitely local, but I think it's a staple in Wayzata. But I think they do get some people there on vacation.
I think it was adorable because it's happy hour from 3:30 to 5. And I walked in and there were like all these elderly people sitting in the bar and it was super cute.
Because there's
they
a
come-
local community.
Yeah,
of
there's a
senior
Presbyterian
living.
home there called Folkestone. And I guess they come over and they do happy hour at Gianni's. And, you know,
They were so cute.
if they live at Folkestone, that's a super bougie, like
They
Presbyterian
were
home.
adorable.
They were adorable.
And then one guy had a name tag on.
Oh,
he
he
still had his
did.
name tag
What
on.
was it? He had his cute little name tag on from
Yeah.
his.
He must have been the
Senior
lead.
living.
He must have been the lead happy hour guy.
But it was really cute because when I walked in, Noelle and Dee Dee were sitting at the bar and I was wondering why they weren't sitting outside. Gianni's has a beautiful outdoor patio. It started during COVID. They let them take the whole sidewalk section in front of the bar and they just let them keep it. And it's really a nice place. They have heaters when it's cold out and stuff, but I'm really glad they were inside because then we got to meet Steve and we got to sit in there and sit on the corner. And I like sitting at a
when you're
corner.
inside.
Yeah, because then you get to socialize.
It
more.
wasn't as warm as it usually is in June, so it was a little chilly and it was cloudy at that moment. We got to watch the sailboats outside and on Lake Minnetonka. It's beautiful. Barstool
ahead.
breakdown and the scene and sip were
Yeah.
awesome.
And if you guys know, sometimes it can be hard to park, but there's a parking ramp right there and it's connected to Gianni's. So you can just go right in from the parking ramp. And so that's always really nice, especially in the winter.
And Noelle, Nikki, and I, our anniversaries are all in October. And a lot of times we'll do a group dinner at Gianni's for our
It's
anniversary.
a very special
and
place.
Dee Dee's, you've been at Gianni's a lot.
Yeah. It's a very special place to
Yeah,
have dinner too.
It is.
They also had for sports scene. I'm just going to chime in too. I know because there's the FIFA World Cup going on right now, and so if you definitely want to sit at the bar and watch sports, they have lots of
Yes.
TVs there.
Yeah. So
They did, but they didn't really have it on, did
No,
they?
they don't. No,
No,
at first they did. So
Yes, they
first I
did.
said, oh, why do they have this show on? They should have the World Cup on. And all of a sudden I looked and they did have the World Cup on.
did.
So they had switched.
but no,
so
but
there
no
wasn't-
sound. Sorry.
No, I mean,
No
there
s-
wasn't, but
That's
this-
true.
So part of the sports scene, yes, it's there, but if you want to just kind of watch along, but again, as Edie's mentioned, there's no sound. Did anybody go to the girls' room?
Yep, I did. It's in
Yeah.
the back hallway, and it's very nice.
It's really nice.
They have a bunch of other restaurants and other retail.
So they share the
connected
restroom, don't they? Yeah.
to that hallway, but it's a very nice, sophisticated restroom with towels and things like that. So very nice.
Okay, and then tab recap.
Wow, just
Yeah.
$10 martinis,
$10 martinis.
$5 appetizers. The
The
best Parmesan popcorn you'll ever have.
That was really
Oh,
good. We
wow.
didn't get the truffle popcorn because Dee Dee
Ew.
does not like truffle.
tastes like
but-
garbage.
But the whatever they put on it, the butter or whatever, was really good.
And the Parmesan. And we got tacos, and we also got onion rings, and everything was just
we had fish
excellent.
tacos and beef tacos, and I think
Mhm.
both of them were really good.
Yep.
The onion rings were good because they were like really skinny.
Thin. I liked
and
the thin
super
ones.
salty.
Yeah.
They were good.
They were
Yeah.
really good.
So Very excellent. And everything was between $5 and $12. So everything we ordered.
So all in all, it was a great tab recap. There was somewhat of a sports scene. The scene and sip is great because you're in Wayzata. It's really good people watching. You can look at the lake and then just the bartender Steve. He just really made it really special, and he was very engaging. He's funny. He told us stories, and he let us tell all our stories. And he was really intrigued by the podcast and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So Maria, what do you think?
I'm going to give it a 9. I love Gianni's, and honestly, I had not been there at happy hour. Usually when I go there, we're going out for dinner or something, and the only downside is they used to have the steak bites as part of happy hour, and they've now replaced that with the beef tacos. So that's the only downside, but other than that, it's a great place. It's like a gem, I think, in downtown Wayzata.
Yeah, especially if you're looking for something a little high end.
Yes.
There's Cove and other places, and they're nice. But Gianni's is that old school, high end,
Steakhouse.
Yeah,
Yep.
steakhouse. And it's just very white glove. That's the kind of vibe that I think about when I think of
Kind of
Gianni.
brings us back to when our mom worked at Jack's Cafe. We even talked to him about Jack's and our mom. And
We talked about a bunch of restaurants.
Yeah.
He used to work at the Lexington. And so we kind of talked about the old school vibe.
Okay, so Noelle, what do you score?
I'm definitely going to give it a 9 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 10. I just think you can't go wrong. And I was blown away with the happy hour prices. I just think if you're going to go to one of your favorite dinner spots and you can just go for a quick happy hour and really not break the bank, it's awesome.
It was under $40 each with,
and I gave a
little bit
pretty
with the
hefty
tip,
tip.
yeah.
So I'll give it a 10 as well, just because I just thought it's just so classy and it was great. It was a great deal. And then our bartender was just amazing. The service couldn't have been better.
it was just
funny.
a fun time.
We had the words of the day. that
Yeah,
were-
we did a TikTok.
yeah. So the words of the day are because we always say so.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Steve used to work with somebody that ended every sentence with, or whatever.
And and whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
and whatever. So he comes over and he's talking to us and he starts his story. He goes, you're like,
See?
three.
Say-
We all start
We all said
laughing.
So we were laughing.
We had a lot of fun. And then he had people also assisting him with running and making drinks and bringing us
It was a
hors d'oeuvres.
well run bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yep.
sophisticated dining place that was also fantastic for happy hour. And there was even women sitting by us in the bar going, get the fish tacos. They're the
Yep.
best you've ever gotten. And so people that come there are regulars, but if you come as a guest and it's your first time, I think you'll be blown away.
I just have one little thing. Steve was talking about one of his pet peeves is when people get sayings wrong. So I'm going to say,
God, that's right.
so
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was a well-watered machine.
And what did he say? Nip it in the butt.
Yeah. Nip it in the butt machine
Yeah.
and nip it in the bud
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the butt.
or the butt.
All right, so we've got some funny stories that we're going to talk about. Our theme today is really boats, blunders, and bumps. And so we've got a whole mirage of different things that we're going to talk about as far as boats. And I will say that water is a theme for our family. Talk about 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, but for the Saya family, we're all connected to water. So I live on a lake. Maria has a pool. Noelle lives on a lake. Dee Dee has a boat on the St. Croix. And we're very much a water family.
And
Yes, we are.
cabin life, we're very sad. Our brother and our sister-in-law just sold their place on Leech Lake last year, but we have many memories up in
Yeah.
Walker.
You know?
Yeah, I had a cabin in just outside of Annandale in South Haven on Lake Marie, and we compromised and sold that and live on a lake. But there's something about going away for the weekend and being at a cabin. But we have a lot of stories about being on the lake, in the boat, pulling kids on the tube and water skiing and whatnot. And so we wanted to share some of those funny stories with you.
I'm going to start. This is Noelle. We always try to bring it back to our childhood, having the cabin up on Star Lake in Litchfield, Minnesota. And our dad literally built that, and our brothers and all of us little kids built that cabin practically by hand. And the whole time we were up there, we never upgraded the boat. It was a fishing boat with a 9.6 Johnson, I believe, motor. And it was strong enough to pull us all
Well, we weighed like 40 pounds.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
we were little.
On inner tubes.
But old school tube with the nozzle sticking out and us getting all dirty from the tube and always getting scratched up by the nozzle. But it was a blast. And then we had our neighbors, the Kelly, the other Irish family that would take us out on their bigger boats and we'd water ski. And we could not have had more fun. I don't know if we've ever caught any other fish than a bullhead in that lake. I
Gross.
jumped
That's
in the
so
lake
gross.
one time and right on top of a bullhead and it stung me in the foot. We have so many funny stories about just our dad being so patient though, getting in that boat, the handheld motor, and our brother Rob and Paul just flying us around that lake. It
How about
was,
when I drove it?
oh my God, Maria. Then Maria comes up. You're probably in your early 20s or
No,
something.
I was a teenager.
Maybe you're a teenager. And Maria's, I'm going to drive the boat.
She revs it up and
She-
almost drives
She
right into
literally
the
does
dock.
a U-turn into
Right
the
into
rocks.
the shore.
We're like,
all
Maria's
screaming.
done. Maria's
I'm
done. We all learned how to drive a boat the old school way, but we could not have had more fun than that little farm lake, Star Lake, just whipping around, just having a blast. And then as we all got a little older and brought our boyfriends up there with their boats, I still have a memory of Nikki's husband and my husband, Jay and Kip, going across the lake. Whee!
Chuck, my old boyfriend Jerry
Oh,
loved
yeah.
to go fishing on that
Yes.
lake.
Oh, yeah.
So it was our introduction to,
Boat
in
life.
addition to having just going up to beaches by St. Anthony where we lived in the Twin Cities. But it was really us just going old school and just going all out, jumping off the dock, going tubing, and not having a care in the world and wearing I don't know if we even wore our life jackets.
We wore life jackets.
Only
We-
Mom wore a life
But
jacket.
the old
No,
school,
I know, but if we were skiing,
If
we
we were
were
skiing or
Yes,
tubing,
for
the
sure.
old
life jackets.
school orange tie around
Oh, yeah.
life jackets, but we could not have had more fun up there, even with all the bumps and bruises that we got. We just get out of that lake and we wouldn't leave the water all day.
I know. So we had our crew up there, like Noelle mentioned. We had the Kellys, and they had 7 kids. We had 7 kids, and they had 6 boys, 1 girl. Missy was one of my best friends. And so we had the Kellys, the Jerpies, the Myers,
The Van
The Grays.
the Grays,
The
Van
Vans-
Cleves were
Van
not
Cleve-
our friends.
No, they weren't.
The Van Cleves were like too old.
And
Yeah.
they were
like
the
an
old
old
people that did not want you to walk through their yard.
No,
Oh,
they
yeah.
yelled at us
They
all
would
the
yell at us.
time.
Didn't stop us. Kept walking through the yard because how were we going to get to
We
the
got to get
Kellys?
to the Kellys, and the Van Cleves lived between us and the Kellys.
And God forbid we walk on the road.
Oh
I
no, that
know.
was too far.
No, that was too far.
That's too far.
But
And there,
great-
there was deer flies too
Yeah.
when
Oh,
he went on
yeah.
the road. So
And
no, thank you.
mosquitoes. But I will say the Kelly boys, they would pull us tirelessly on the lake tubing, and we all learned how to water ski with those big ass wooden water skis. And we literally
Well, you had
weighed,
to drop one, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we literally weighed 40, 50, 60 pounds. And
We were all good.
yeah, and we dropped a ski, we'd slalom, and they would go round and round. Every time we'd fall, they'd go round and pick us up and never complain. And they just love to whip us around.
Props to Michael Kelly and Dennis Kelly and crew.
Willie.
They were amazing. And,
And
they had
Willie.
a slide.
Oh,
They
that's
had
scary.
a huge hill, if you can imagine the highest hill on a lake. And they had an old school, they like built it themselves and
Out of sheet metal.
Oh.
and they ran the water down it. And they even had a lift to get back up. And we would whip down that slide. You'd go down to the bottom of that slide and go about 20 more feet.
Didn't
till you
someone
hit the
get
water.
cut up on that slide?
It
Yeah,
was. They were testing it, and they didn't have the rubber bumpers on it yet.
Like-
So it was one of
Yeah.
It was
the
one of their uncles or
Ouch.
something, and
Yeah.
he was tanked and he
He
was down
split,
it.
he
Oh.
split his entire butt cheek open.
But
Oh.
but they didn't let. They were always so careful with us girls, so they didn't let us do it until it was fully tested.
But yeah, that was pretty wicked though.
It
I
was
know, but
fun.
was
the,
crazy.
the parents, Jim and Sheila, they loved our parents, and they would
Mhm.
just have us, our whole family, over all the time, and we'd just party over there. The parents would be upstairs, the kids would be downstairs. Little did they know that we got into the
Liquor
the
cabinet?
liquor cabinet and the beer and stuff.
That
Whatever.
was more in high school, but it's so
Oh, yeah.
fun.
But,
But,
then we
uh,
had mini bikes and signs and
Jarts.
we
Oh,
were we
everything.
had so much fun up there.
I never saw a family had a zip line before.
their roof.
It was a zip line from their house to their garage, and it was
Yeah,
I
we'd
mean,
jump off the roof.
yeah,
It was awesome.
is-
or the deck.
more.
And then we talked this little neighbor into doing it, and he was really scared, and he was kind of chubby, and he jumped off and he fell.
Oh, hey.
But you know what? No one ever got seriously hurt. We got some bumps and bruises, but we had So much fun.
My favorite memory of being on the water with the Kellys was we always had to go to church when we were up
Never
there.
miss church, either
No,
Saturday night or
it
Sunday
was
morning.
Saturday night, which was a total
Because
bummer.
God doesn't take a vacation,
No,
according
he
to
does
Dad.
not.
Yeah.
We were going out on the lake before we went to church, and we got all dressed up, and we're like, oh, we're just going to go up for one more boat ride. And Michael Kelly, he was kind of older than us. I had a huge crush on him. And we were going out on the lake, and I was probably screaming or doing something annoying. And he's, Nikki, stop. And he's, I'm going to throw you in the lake. And I'm like, no, you're not. And I just held on to him like a monkey, and he jumped in the lake with us both. That was one of my favorites.
So that's the childhood boat story, but we have a couple more. We have a lot more stories because all of us have owned, either have boats still or have owned boats. And I think what we'll do is we're going to talk about a story when Dee Dee and Chuck have always had the biggest boats. And so we were up on the Cross Lake chain where we rented some cabins, and Dee Dee and Chuck had this really nice boat that you brought back from Arizona.
We bought it up in Brainerd and we were going to ship it down. But
Yeah.
before we shipped it down, it was a 290 Chaparral, and we were going to just have fun over the weekend with the family before we shipped it down to Arizona.
The waters were a little choppy that day on the Cross Lake chain. And I'm going to have Maria tell the story about, so this is when our kids were a little bit older.
These kids were little.
So me and Maria had the older girls, and then
But
and
they
then-
were still probably
12.
12,
Yeah.
maybe and under.
Yeah.
So 12 and under, and we
12 and
probably
under.
had 6 kids on the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
So they had a cuddy underneath, and a lot of the kids would go underneath and
Watch movies.
Yeah, whatever. And they had a really cool inner tube that they wanted to try out. So they put the girls in.
It was called the Patriot.
Oh my gosh.
and
So
it wasn't really an
anyway,
inner tube. It was like a
it
big.
was a big
watercraft.
seat. It was
Yeah.
a chair thing that they could sit
had
in.
6
and
seats in it.
keep in mind, these kids weighed 40, 50 pounds. And I can't remember how many of them went on. And so they went on the Patriot inner tube type of thing. And I don't even think they were strapped
2
in, right?
rows.
2 rows.
Probably not. No.
And Chuck, Dee Dee's husband, took them around and whipped them around, and they loved it. And
They were just bouncing around, having
bouncing
the time
around,
of their
having the
life.
great time. But so then the guys decide that looks really fun. So my husband, Noelle's husband, and Nikki's husband all decide they're going to go on it. So my husband's in the middle. Kip is on one side, Jay's on the other, and Chuck takes them and he whipped them around. And I don't know if there was like a big wave that came up or
He
whatever.
said there was 2 wakes that came at the same time, and
Except for before they got on,
Chelsea,
Nikki's
yeah.
little girl Chelsea was having premonition, and
She's clairvoyant. So she was saying, Mommy, no, Mommy, no. And normally Jay's not a water guy. He's like an avid indoorsman. And so he's
Italian.
Yeah, he's Italian. He doesn't,
he doesn't like getting wet.
typically doesn't like to get in the water and do water sports and things like that. He's usually either driving the boat or hanging out with a cocktail. But for some reason, he wanted to go out on the tube with the guys, and Chelsea was begging him. And she was only 3.
And so the kids were underneath when this all
and
happened.
she came out and she's, oh, Daddy, you're going to get hurt. Please don't go. And Jay's like, no,
You're
it's
fine.
fine. I'm just going to go tubing with these guys. It's going to be fine. She's, no, you're going to get hurt. There's going to be blood. And so
Well,
we,
she was right.
yeah, we calmed her down. We got her back down in the cuddy and everything. And lo and behold, what happened?
So what happened was, I don't know, there was some wave.
There
or
was 2
double waves that
waves.
came through. And so my husband's in the middle between Kip and Jay.
And
Like
this
a
is
hot
we
dog.
call it the hot dog.
This is a white.
The thing basically folded in half. And so my husband flew out, but Kip and Jay bumped heads. And it was not good because they both sustained pretty bad head wounds, which we now call them hairy
Hairy
head
head
wound.
wound.
And
Head
we,
wound
we had,
Harry's.
we had to
Head
go
wound
to the
Harry.
hospital. I was holding Kip's head.
We had to get the water ambulance. out.
Yeah, we had. It was bad.
scary.
We
And
had to
then
get back.
Chelsea comes up from
She
the
goes,
cuddy. See, I told you. We're like,
So the guys were really good troopers, though. We ended up having to go to, I think, the Brainerd Hospital.
Yeah,
and the
we
guys,
did.
Kip did he have staples? Too?
Stitches.
Stitches. And
Stitches.
I think
Jay
Jay
got
might have had staples.
But they had their heads wrapped.
Their
they were
heads
pretty
wrapped.
in
funny.
turbans
They
and-
had 2 turbans on. They came back and
Yeah.
drank beer.
But
so.
Chelsea, on the way to the hospital, she was in the back. So she was like 3 in a car seat, and me and Noelle were in the front seat, and she goes, "Nobody listened to me. I told you there was so much blood. It was insane."
Yeah, it was bad.
And then me and Noelle just looked at each other and we're like, got the goosebumps. We're like, "Oh my God, she's clairvoyant."
And we stayed at a nice resort.
Yeah.
And after the guys got all their stitches and staples and everything, we just kept calling them head wound Harry.
I think we went out on the boat the next day.
I'm sure
for
we did.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
and the-
more with that inner tube, though.
No, we retired that inner tube for adults.
I think if
So-
you asked Tom, he probably got a little hurt, but
Compared to the
not
other
compared
two.
to the other guys at all. I think he might have hit his rib or
Because
something
he
like
just
that.
slipped out of the bun of
He
the
just
hot dog.
like just shot out like a hot dog. I'm
I
telling you.
just had another one come back. We were up in Canada where Dee Dee's family, Chuck's family has an island and it's so cool. And we had brought a pretty nice fishing boat that we have with us. And we had a lot of the boys with us. And so our son Max, who was
Oh.
probably only about 10 or 11 at that time, and Gianni and Bennett were on the boat with Kip. And Kip was actually not going very fast, but he hit a rock. And Max, they all had life jackets on. Max went flying out of the boat, and
It was
So did
Bennett
Bennett.
and John. No,
Yeah.
they fell inside the boat.
yeah,
They
but
didn't-
it did put a hole in the side of the boat, which
Oh,
we had to
that's right.
repair later. But we've had some blunders, and it didn't really phase Max much. I was wondering why he was wet when they came back, and
he didn't
Kip's
say
like,
anything for a while.
yeah, you got to be careful out on rainy. We weren't even going at a very high speed, but
You have
we
to
hit,
know where you're going.
yeah, we hit
Yep.
a rock, and
It's like the Titanic hitting
Yeah,
an
but-
iceberg.
yeah, but those guys go out to Alaska and they go out in the ocean and they go fishing, but it was
Well, I
the
have a
one
Canada
time.
story too. When I
Yeah.
was getting back to the dock.
my God.
Oh
remember?
my God,
Yeah.
Maria, tell us that story.
So-
I heard it secondhand.
Tom and I had to
still
leave
laugh.
because we were going somewhere.
You were going to a play.
Yeah, or we were going to some concert or something. Chuck had to take us because you have to take a boat to the island. So they leave a boat at
Red Gut Bay, the landing.
yeah, and
It's
so
Pearson's Landing.
we're leaving, and Chuck gets up to the dock and
Let me preface this that we're out in the middle of nowhere on an island, but Maria still did her curlers and sat out in the sun and got her hair really cute
yeah,
and
because
put
we're
on her
going to this.
put on a
thing.
cute outfit, and so she was ready to go for the evening.
Yeah,
so
with
she
my
didn't look
leopard
like she was
bra.
at the cabin.
So anyway, they parked the boat, and it's one of those real deep boats. And I had one foot on the dock. I was trying to get out, but the boat kept sliding away. Long story short, fell right in the lake. I did the
She did the
splits,
splits.
and I yelled, "Tom!" Nikki's son Sam and I think Dee Dee's son Bennett were
Were there.
on the boat, and oh, they had a good time telling that story because I had a green T-shirt on and I had a leopard bra, and they could see that right through it. And one of the
"Oh my
guys,
God."
one
Oh,
of the
boy.
guys at the lodge goes, "That was a good day."
We could go on and on. We
Yep.
have so many boat stories. I can't think of the name of it. Crestliner. And anyhow, it was really cool. Had a small little cuddy. And we took that thing apart down to the studs, and I redid all of the wood in the basement over the winter and sanded it down, put 5 coats of shellac on it, and it looked really good. We bought all new seats, and then our lady at So Magic did our cushions and everything. So anything, it looked beautiful. So we took the boat out on Lake Minnetonka, and we picked up Nikki and Tom. They were working in Wayzata. He said, "We'll take you on a lunch tour or on a little boat ride for lunch." So they're like, "Cool, we'll meet you at the Wayzata dock." So we went and picked them up, and then we were like cruising around. We're like, let's just turn off the motor and float for a little bit, and eat our lunch and just hang out. Lunch was good, but the boat wouldn't start again. So boy, was that boat pretty, but
Oh
it
my God, we were out there for hours too, and we
So-
were in work clothes,
Yeah.
and we were very sunburned, and we couldn't get back to work. Funny.
So we had to call the towboat, USA Tow, I think, but we're still members of the tow club. But that boat that summer, we got towed off Lake Minnetonka 3 times before we just sold that boat. We just couldn't. We'd get it repaired. They couldn't figure it out. It would overheat and not cool down.
It was beautiful, but it
Yep.
was
so
The
that,
name of the boat.
that the name of the boat was Fawn Leibowitz. So if
Animal
anybody is an Animal House friend, she died in a kiln explosion.
and I think the actual boat Should have died in a kiln.
But we have to
explosion.
talk about one more thing. We have to talk about Dee Dee and Chuck's boat on the St. Croix and the traditions that we've now created for the last brides.
With our adults, mostly our adult daughters and bachelorette parties.
Yes.
Yeah. It was the first party was my daughter-in-law's. Instead of going to a bachelor party, because I know I'm too old to go to a bachelorette party.
And they don't want us there.
They don't want us
Well,
there, and
I've
I
been
get
to
it.
some,
I know.
But so
okay.
I told Lily we're gonna do a hen and chick party, and my sister-in-law Laura Lee was she named it because she said in Europe they call bachelorette parties hen parties, so we call it the hen and chick parties. The older ladies, all us aunties, are the hens, and all the cousins are chicks, and then we go out on the boat, and literally 22 people on the front of the boat playing rap music, dancing, just getting crazy all day.
We
And
usually just go on a sand dune.
we'll
and-
beach the boat, and we'll all hang out and just
and
have a
people will
blast.
come around us and just want to hang out with us. It's
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah.
We always
And
attract a bunch of
Allie
other
and Lily are
boats.
singing Cher, and then
Yeah.
people were coming up on our boat wanting to sing
Of
Karaoke.
course, we have a microphone.
a microphone and karaoke, so
Of
people were
course.
singing.
How many have we had now?
2.
Just so we're
Yeah,
gonna have
but
another one
Macy
soon.
soon.
Yep.
Yep.
So then we go back to the marina, and then we got an Airbnb both
Yep.
times. And then we go to the Airbnbs and play games, the hens against the chicks. And
Super fun.
chicks have won. The hens
Yeah.
are 0-2.
There's more chicks than there are hens.
Well, we're
I
not
feel
going to
like.
make excuses, but because we're going to beat them next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it's so much fun.
But it's so much fun. And then we end up going bar hopping in Hudson. And Hudson's, it's a cute little town. And that's kind of been
Tradition.
a tradition that we
Yeah.
started, the hens and chick party.
And we got a few more girls to marry, so
And-
even
and
We're going to do
boys.
some anniversaries and some other.
Yeah, so much fun.
So talk about just the next wedding we're planning.
Oh, my daughter Macy is getting married in October of 2027 up in Brainerd because she has to be near a lake. So she actually lives up that way. Her hen and chick party will be a year from
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next summer.
It's not really a destination wedding, but it will be.
We're all
We
going to get cabins.
Yeah, we'll get cabins.
So there'll be more lake stories.
And
We'll have
I
it
heard
going.
you're having the 250-year 4th of July party, Nikki.
Tell
Okay.
us what your father-in-law said about Minnesota, who's from
Oh,
Texas, who was just here.
So it would be my
Son's
son's
father-in-law.
father-in-law. Tommy, he came on our boat, and he's from Texas, so he couldn't understand why anybody would live in Minnesota. And he looked at us on the boat, and he goes, "You know what? I get it. These 3-4 months with being on the lake, this nice weather, all the greenery, he could not believe the scenery on the river and the trees. And he actually had a friend who had a cabin up in Brainerd, so that he went up there. We did some driving through Minnesota in the summer, and it is really just a beautiful place.
Yeah. People that don't live here don't understand why we live here, but it is only a couple of months a year, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah. We really, if you think about it, we enjoy it from May to September. And
Or
we
October
have a hard
even.
time
Yeah.
even in October putting our boats
Yeah.
away. So now that Nikki and I have pontoons on our lakes too.
And use those later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
We
fun
just-
tunes,
yeah,
as Emma would say.
Yeah. Smaller lakes, but we just love it. It's just great to look out at the water. And I go out on my lake even in the winter and,
Yeah,
go-
after this podcast, we're
Yeah.
gonna go
Cross
and
country ski.
We're gonna
or
go out
walk-
on a boat
Yeah,
ride on
we'll
my
go
fun tune.
For a little,
For sure, cocktail cruise.
So
Cocktail
so just you were talking about naming boats. We decided to name ours the Flying Wasp. So if anybody gets that reference.
So we've had a couple of boats in our day, but we are obsessed with Fletch, and we've had a couple of boats. We had Sally Ann, we had Betty Lou, and if you're a Fletch fan, you'll get it. And then our new boat now is Mrs. Stanwyck. It's all Fletch related. We have fun naming our boats.
We couldn't change our boat. Our boat came with a name, but it's kind of cute. It's called Blonde Moment, Port of Usually Lost.
It's
Makes
cute.
sense.
I love it. We're blonde, so you know.
You guys are.
All right, we're going to wrap this episode up. And as usual, we really appreciate all of our listeners and hope that you share it with your friends. You can find us on anywhere that podcasts are available, and we will share on Instagram and Facebook, and we have a TikTok now. Make sure that you tune in there. We also have a website where you can also find our Que Sera bracelets. And then you can listen to all our episodes on our website. You click on episodes and you can find all of our episodes.
We have 10 now.
We have
and
10
we
now.
have 10.
And I just wanted to say, queserabracelets.com, the orders have been coming in. Thank you to everybody who have purchased bracelets and have been spreading the love and just spreading the message that life is messy, but God's got you.
Keep in mind, we can customize bracelets. So we've even done that for some nonprofits. We've had friends that wanted us to put special messaging on or specific colors.
And they're only
Mm-hmm.
$5 a piece. Sell them 5 for $25.
Yeah.
We've done Irish ones too, where we have the Claudia, or we have
A little
like
shamrock
a
or 4th
shamrock
of July ones we're making
or
now.
Star of
and-
David or
yeah.
whatever. So if you want to customize it with certain trinkets, we can do that.
Yeah,
too.
just send us a message on the website and we'll definitely be able to accommodate you if you've got a specific need. And just reach out to us and share the love. And it just really goes back to our mom, Betty, and our dad, and just about sharing love. I'm just mentioning this, and it's something in our future is many years ago when our dad was still alive, prior to 2004 when he passed, we had a book published. We worked with an author. Her name is Mary O'Brien Tyrell. And she was a hospice nurse who also had a literary degree. And she started a company called Memoirs, Inc. She worked with our mom and dad to publish their memoir called Lest We Forget. So it's L''EST, Lest We Forget. We donated a copy to the Minnesota Historical Society. And we all have copies.
And the Humphrey Library
And the
in
Humphrey
Waverly.
Library in Waverly, because we'll talk about it another time, but how our mom met Hubert Humphrey and helped our dad with his emigration. And I'm going to be recording that and putting it on a platform in the future. So we'll talk a little bit more about that Audible book that we'll be putting in a digital format, because we really want people to hear their story about how they came from Poland and Ireland and their life stories. We'll talk about that later and when I have more information about it. But we thought I'd just share that early if anybody wanted to look for that in the future.
Signing off from somewhere in the West Metro,
This is Nikki,
Maria.
Dee Dee.
Noelle.
where the wine flows and the tea spills. Cheers! Remember, you can find us at firstgensisterspodcast.com.
Thank you.